Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to do an unboxing and detailed review on this Mr. Coffee Optimal Brew coffee maker. It retails for $70. You can find it on Amazon and at Target. Okay, so this one comes with an instruction manual. It also comes with a water filter. Some models don't come with water filter, but this one does. I always like to put these on their side, and then I'm going to pull it out like this. Once you got it pulled out, then it's a little easier to get these off. So just out of the box, it looks really nice. It's got like a professional look to it. A lot of metal. This is a stainless steel pot. There's a push button to let the coffee out. So front to back, side to side, it's about 8 inches. Front to back is about 11 inches. Height-wise, it's about 14 and a half. It does have a water reservoir that you have to take off, so you have to lift it up a little bit. Then you can get the water reservoir off. It does sit flat, I like that. And over on this side is the brew basket. So this will fit under a standard kitchen cabinet. So kitchen cabinets are about 19 inches tall, so I can fit this under there. I can lift this water reservoir off just fine. And as long as I can get to the side, I've got to be able to pull this out. Okay, so there is a lot going on with this coffee maker. Coffee makers, this has a removable water reservoir. Now this is 10 cups. Some coffee makers are 12 cups. This one's only 10. Yeah, this one looks pretty nice. It's got a little level or indicator down there to tell the coffee maker if you run out of water. The cord is completely, you can store it completely, looks like. Okay, so the cord comes out okay, and it's a 2-prong cord. So over here we've got this big handle to pull. And this is the hinge. This is what holds that water filter disc, and we've got some paperwork in here. Okay, it's got a big warning. Make sure your carafe is empty. So these stainless steel carafes, normally, like when you have a glass one, you can tell if it's empty or full. But I've noticed online that sometimes people will forget that there's coffee in here, and they'll start a brew, and then it overflows and makes a big mess. So that's what that warning is, to make sure this is empty before you do a brew. Okay, so there's quite a bit going on here. You know, this is the filter basket. It's got that pause brewing. That's that plunger that we're used to on other coffee makers. When that lifts up, then the coffee can come out. Now it does not come with any coffee filters, so it takes 8 to 12 cup basket style coffee filters, or you can buy a reusable coffee filter. It will fit in there. So with these water filter discs, this is carbon in here. We need to rinse this out with water. Let it soak in a cup or a bowl for about 10 minutes, and then rinse it out really good. There will be some carbon dust in here. Okay, so you don't have to use the carbon filter, but I am going to show you how to install it. So you got this hinge. You're going to open this hinge. You got to have this gray part. So you're going to put the filter kind of in the gray part, kind of on this, and then this kind of just quarter turn and snaps to kind of hold the filter on the bottom. A little hard to tell, but you should be able to. It says to close, turn it this way, yeah. And it'll just turn to where it closes. Now when you close the lid, so the water's going to get brewed through the carbon filter before it goes into the coffee grounds. A little different way of doing it. And then this is an indicator to tell you what month. They tell you to put it what month you need to change it next. I always put it on the month that I changed it. So it is May. I'm going to put it right on the May, then I know that I put this in May. And you should change it every 2 to 3 months, depending on how much coffee you brew. Again, you don't necessarily have to have the carbon filter, but they do recommend it. And it looks like you can take this off if you had to. Okay, so now that we got the water filter installed, let's just slide it in. So nothing really prevents that from stopping. be prepared. So when you pull this out, you have to take it out every time. I thought maybe that would just like stop and you could do your work right there, but no. And then to set it down, okay, so it sits square. You know, it's not tilty or anything, so you're able to do your work. Lift this up, and then we'll put it, well, when you lift that up, it kind of tilts over. Okay, so I've got it plugged in. Let's brew a pot of coffee. First thing we're going to do, we can either use something else to fill the water reservoir up, like use a pitcher, or it does have kind of a nice handle that you can take it off and go fill it up with. Okay, so on the side, it's got this max. Whatever water you put in is what it's going to brew. So I'm going to do a full pot. I've got it filled up to the 12 or the 10 mark. So now over here, let's pull this out. Let's put our coffee in. So we got to open this up. Again, I've got the 8 to 12 cup basket style coffee filters. So in the manual, it does suggest for 10 cups, 7.5 tablespoons. Normally it's 1 tablespoon per cup. So I would do 10, but this one suggests 7.5. So I use coffee that is ground at a medium grind for like a normal coffee, like a drip coffee maker. I got my tablespoon, so there's 1, 2. Okay, so I've got my coffee in, 7.5 tablespoons. Again, I do wish that kind of sat better. Okay, so let's flip the lid down. We got the lid down, we got to grab it. We got to put it in the side here. Again, make sure your coffee pot is empty. Now this does not have a warming plate. It uses the stainless steel pot to keep the coffee warm. Make sure it's positioned under there correctly. And then we're just going to hit the brew button. So when you hit the brew button, that light comes on and starts kind of sinking. Kind of flat, or kind of going on and off slowly. Then you got this fresh brew timer. Looks like it's got 2 hours. Okay, so it's not super loud when it starts to brew. Now, one of the things that this thing claims is it brews at 205 degrees and it's 20% faster. We're going to check out the delay brew. It's got the thermal carafe, removable water reservoir, freshness timer. Yeah, that's what that is. It's hard to see, but it lets you know how long the coffee's been sitting there. Grab a cup, auto pause, so we'll try that in a little bit. Lift and clean filter basket, and includes water filtration. Okay, so I can hear the coffee going into the coffee pot. This is a relatively quiet coffee maker. You do get some steam coming up around. This isn't hot. Okay, so there's like a vent back here. This is where the hot steam's coming out. Yeah, I'm very impressed with how quiet this is. So the display is pretty easy to read. It's got a clock. I'm going to show you how to set that clock. It's got a delay brew. So looks like it's got a dim mode, so you can turn the display even dimmer. I don't know why you would. That's pretty dim already. Now it is going to beep at us when it's done brewing the pot of coffee, so we'll wait for the beeps. Again, even it's been brewing for 4 minutes, it's still really quiet. So it's been about 5 minutes. It's getting a little bit louder. Let's try the pause brewing. So I can take this out. And I could pour me a cup of coffee, and then when I put it back in, it should resume putting the coffee in the coffee pot. Now, if you ever needed to manually stop it, you could just press that button again and it would stop the brew. Okay, so it beeped 3 times. It wasn't extremely loud. It's, Cuisinarts I think are definitely a little bit louder. So it beeped and then it turned off that, but the freshness indicator is still lit. So it goes in 15-minute increments up to 2 hours. Okay, so let's see how it pours. Got a little bit of coffee up there. So again, you have to press this button. Okay, it pours really good. Kind of slow, but that's okay. It's not making a mess. That's the big thing. 175. Yeah, that's a really hot cup of coffee. The nice thing about these stainless steel carafes is they don't get hot. They keep your coffee hot, but they don't get hot. So you can set them on your table, set them anywhere you'd like. That is a nice feature. And then when you're done, just kind of... Now putting it in, you can't put it in like this because of this spout. So you do have to kind of put it in like that to make sure it's nice and flush. So this is a really hot cup of coffee right now. I have tasted it. It tastes really good. I gotta let it cool though some more. So again, this machine does shut off. It doesn't have a warming plate that it keeps the coffee maker on. The coffee maker is shut off, so you could leave for work. Let's see how the coffee grounds did. Be careful, this can be really hot. Let's lift the cover. Okay. Yeah, it did a really good job, looks like. It didn't overflow the coffee grounds. Didn't even come close, looks like. Now it does leak a little bit. When you set it down, it depresses that plunger, which lets a little bit of coffee out. So here's what it looks like on the inside there. There's the brew head. So cleanup is a little tricky. You've got this hinged lid. You got to take this over and then dump out your coffee grounds. You can remove the hinged lid. It's got a little cutout right there. So that kind of puts your water filter right there. I don't like the way Mr. Coffee does their water filters. Most coffee makers put their water filter, they put it in the water reservoir where the water before it goes into the machine. And that's just, you don't ever have to worry about it. It's just right there. When they do it this way, it's kind of always in your way around the coffee grounds. But yeah, so the coffee grounds did not even come close to overflowing. Here's the coffee pot. So we just turn this and that comes off. That's very easy to operate. And again, so just right there and snap. It does have a button to let the coffee out. So here's everything you can clean. This is the lid. It can be a little tricky to clean. It looks like it's got a lot going on inside there. This is kind of a big, bulky thing, but it's pretty easy to clean. I do like that you can clean the water reservoir. You'd be surprised how dirty water reservoirs get in coffee makers that you can't remove. Here's the inside of the coffee carafe. Looks really nice. And the freshness timer, see how it's gone over in 15-minute increments. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you. So that full 10-cup pot of coffee, it was pretty quick. It did it in about 7 or 8 minutes, which is pretty quick for a standard coffee maker. So some of the potentials I see. So one of the big things is making sure this is empty. With a glass one, it's so easy to tell if you left your coffee in here or not. But definitely want to just give it a quick shake to make sure it's empty. And positioning the coffee pot, that's that pause brewing. Again, I can't put it in here like that. I guess I can. There's some way, yeah. So I can't really go like that. I can go straight on, or I can go at an angle. But just making sure that looks like that when you're putting it in. So the control panel does look pretty simple to operate. You've got this dim mode, which is pretty dim. Bright's nothing too bright. So to set the time, you can't be in this fresh brew timer. So turn it on and off really quick to get rid of that fresh brew timer. So now when we press the hour button, we can change the hours. It's got an AM and a PM light, which is really nice. So right now it is, let's go back through. It's 2 p.m. and then do the minutes. So it has an hour and a minute buttons, 2:30 p.m. Okay, so now say we want to program this coffee maker to come on in the morning and make a pot of coffee. We first got to make sure we've got the right amount of water in and our coffee filter and coffee grounds in. So once we've got the water and coffee in, then we can set the clock. Once we've got our time set, now we've got to hit this set delay. You're going to hit this button. It's going to start flashing. Change the hour and minutes to whatever you want it to come on in the morning. I want this to come on at 5:15 a.m. So there's an hour and a minute. And then I got to do one more step. I've got to actually hit this delay brew button. Okay, so that light comes on. I don't need to press the power button or anything else. I can go to bed. As long as that delay brew light is on, it's going to start in the morning at that time. To check the time, I've got to cancel that, set delay brew, check the time again. Okay, so it's going to start at 5:15, then hit the delay brew and the light comes on. Now I can go to bed knowing that this coffee maker will start in the morning. This machine also has a clean light. So when this clean light comes on, that means it's time to descale your coffee maker. And the only way to get it to go out is you have to actually, there's a descaling mode. You got to put the machine in a descaling mode. And I'm going to show you how to do that in my next video. You can also unplug it for like 5 or 6 minutes, and then the descale, this clean light will reset itself. But that's letting you know it is time to clean your machine. And again, I'm going to cancel this. You just got this big brew now button. So brew now and turn it off. So start the brew and it'll finish automatically. It's beeping at me right now because I don't have any water in. It knows if you've got water in the reservoir or not. So it's going to beep at you to let you know, hey, you don't have any water. I'm going to turn it off. Okay, this is a very nice looking coffee maker. It will brew whatever you put in there. So if you just want a 6-cup pot of coffee, just fill it up to the 6 mark. Whatever water you put in here is the amount it's going to brew each time. So when you press that brew button, whatever water's in here that's what it's going to brew. So I'd put 6. Then I would look at my chart and the manual. And if you need to pause it, so here's for 6 cups, it looks like you're going to put 4.5 tablespoons. And again, here's where you put your coffee, and you want to change that carbon filter about every couple months, and it's got that little indicator. Those are just standard Mr. Coffee water filters. That's what they're called. So I think it lived up to what it says on the box. Does the coffee taste? It might taste a little bit better. Again, I'm not an expert at coffee tasting, but this did make a really good cup of coffee. So the optimal brew, hotter and faster. Yeah, it did seem like it was hotter. It was hard to check. I can't check the temperature of what the water coming out of the brew head is. Is it 205 degrees? Maybe. I'm not sure. Faster is definitely was faster. But again, this is only a 10-cup coffee maker. So I am going to give this a just a dad sticker seal of approval. This thing made a really good cup of coffee. It is kind of a bigger coffee machine. Things are a little quirky, you know, this filter basket being over here, but there's things I do like. I think it looks very nice. I think it does make a good pot of coffee. And again, check out my next video. I'm going to show you how to descale it with vinegar. Thanks everybody for watching. And if you could, please like and subscribe.